So yeah, I was leaving. Here comes Kathy. Tonight as one of the often missed missteps in really any sort of healing, not just gut health, but I mean, who here does spend enough time trying to focus on decreasing stress and promoting things that they enjoy in their life and making sure that they do something, nearly every day that brings them joy and happiness. I think we all get caught up. I mean, I'm guilty of it. We all get caught up in our lives, and sometimes forget that sort of self-care piece. So I know for me, it's often neglected. And sometimes I'll myself get into, either it's like a negative spiral where I'm like reading too much news and I'm feeling mad at the world and frustrated with, things and I'm like, okay. And then I'll just start feeling grumpy, right? I'll start feeling grumpy and it comes out on my loved ones and I'm usually not as nice to myself. So it's like a good sort of daily reminder to like focus on some positive things too and to do something, most days that bring you joy and happiness. And hi, Kathy.
Hi.
I
We've
did
been,
leave there.
we've been trying to join on our computer and we couldn't do it. So
Oh, no worries. We're good here. If you turn your phone sideways, yeah, there we go. Now at least we'll see a bigger, you probably don't necessarily see everything else being that big, but maybe it helps a little bit. Do you want me to send this link to your email? Would that be helpful to get on your computer?
Sure.
Yeah, I can do that for you. Let me do that.
thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Let's see, my cuppings. You know what? I'm going to go in because I know I sent it to Rudy. So let me forward that to you. Rudy, I did send it, right? Or did I not? Oh, geez. Did I not send it to you, Rudy? I guess you figured it out anyways. Thought I sent it to you.
No, there was another way.
You figured it out.
Joyce said,
Joyce
yeah,
told
you can copy something from WhatsApp and send it.
Yeah. I did send it to Shelly, so hopefully she'll be coming. That's one of those things that if I don't do something right then and there when I answer someone's message, it's like gonna get lost. That's why I always tell people email to me because you can mark it as unread. You know what I mean? If you don't get to it right then and there, otherwise it goes lost in my brain, which is a scary place. Okay,
Yeah.
Dave and Kathy, I'll send it to both of you right now. Link.
We have an awful lot of places that we send and receive mail.
Yes.
It's way too many.
Too many. I don't know how the kids do it. I swear the kids they communicate on 85 different platforms. I'm like, how's that? Yeah, I couldn't.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. Yeah. So I did send it to you, Kathy. So hopefully that
Dave's working on it.
Yeah.
Did you just send it to Kathy or just send it to both of us?
I did send it to both of you.
Okay.
Let me know if you don't get it. It looks like it's sent on my end. So hopefully you'll get it momentarily. Because yeah, I can't stand watching Zoom on my phone unless I'm like traveling around, don't have to look at it. But when I'm sitting, yeah, it's easier on the computer.
It's
Kathy,
hard.
you have a boo-boo? What happened?
Oh, I've got 3 spots that they found skin cancer, and that's one of them. I had one taken off my shoulder, and next is next to my eye.
Oh,
so
goodness. I'm sorry.
No fun. Thanks.
Do they feel like it's an easy removal and no worries, or what are they saying?
Yeah, well, it's basal cell, so I guess it's the best kind you can have if you're going to have skin cancer.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's just a bad time of year, with the holidays coming up and everything. to
Yeah.
squeeze it in. And we're trying to, at some point, get down to our condo in Fort Myers.
Yeah.
So,
To spend the winter there.
yeah,
Are you excited about that?
well, I will be. We had our first grandbaby in mid-September. I don't know if we told you that. Our first grandbaby was born. So, and they're up in Chicago. So we get to babysit this coming Friday,
Sweet.
and then, you know, we'll be down in Florida. So
Okay.
gonna miss. She's changed a lot just in the last couple months.
Yeah, yeah. Will they come down for the holidays, I hope, or you come back up or?
Well, they're saying that they'll come down for Christmas, but you know, she's going to be going back to work, our daughter-in-law. And so she'll be going to daycare and will probably get sick and not be able to come.
Oh, no.
Who
Pretty
knows?
pessimistic.
Yeah. Well,
It's so hard though. They go to daycare and they pick up all these germs, but you know, it's also like, you got to remember that's what strengthens our immune system from an early age. You know, we all
Yeah.
sick when we were little.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
That's what teaches our bodies what to do in response to it, you know?
But being so young,
yeah.
it'd be harder.
Yeah. Is mom,
RSV is going around, I guess. RSV is a big thing.
yeah. Is mama nursing?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
she is.
That's a good thing. Nursing babies do tend to get sick a lot less. Yeah. Good stuff.
So
Fantastic.
we're getting a message that says we got to wait. The host will let us in
Now I got it.
soon.
It just came up as a.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Then
This
Okay.
meeting is being recorded. It's being recorded. It's
Okay.
being recorded.
I'll turn this off then.
All right, let's do a little check-in before we talk about lifestyle. I'm gonna go from my picture on the top left, which is Patty first.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm doing certainly better than at the very beginning. My symptoms come and go, but they seem to be
Okay, why is that?
less.
Why is that
Are
showing up?
you hearing me okay?
Yeah. Dave and Kathy, maybe just mute yourself if you all are still settling in so we can hear Patty.
Yeah, so anyway, I had a couple of questions.
Yes.
How often should we eat the fermented foods and the bone broth?
I like that question. That's a good one. So heading into winter, I do think bone broth has a lot of immune boosting properties to it. So I would say if you could get bone broth in, 2 or 3 days a week, you're doing a great job.
Okay.
Yep.
And the fermented foods?
And the fermented foods, I would say the same thing. 3 days a week is probably a good idea. Like
Right.
ideally it would be a tablespoon or 2 every day, but that doesn't happen all the time, and that's okay. But I think that if you just start making it more of a habit to do, gotta let someone else in.
It's me.
Okay, awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Let me get off the phone.
We've all been there. That, yeah, for the long term, Patty, like if we think about, if we're doing fermented food 2 or 3 days a week for the next several years, like think about what that's adding to our microbiome over time. I mean, just a couple tablespoons of fermented foods is so much more packed with good bacteria than any any probiotic. I stopped taking probiotics years ago. I used to take them religiously. And then once I heard the statistic of how many more good gut bacteria or good bacteria are in the fermented foods, I was like, why don't I spend money on the probiotics then? I might as well just eat the food.
Okay, well, that's good to know. We had email conversations today. And so the question that I had, since I'm still on the GI Synergy for probably another 2 weeks, I should, even when that finishes, do that grapeseed extract every other week for a couple of months. And then at that point, would I do the stool sample?
Yeah, then I would say at that point, you're probably good for the stool sample. The grapefruit seed doesn't really affect the bacteria. It's more the bacteria I've noticed that kind of goes into flux after using GI Synergy for a while. And I can remember years ago listening to a podcast of the folks who developed the GI map test. And they said, let the gut settle for a while. Let the gut settle. Don't retest right away. Because oftentimes what they were finding is when you retest, there's some bugs that'll get picked up that wouldn't ordinarily get picked up. Like your body's just in a little bit of flux, let it settle down and then retest. So I would say that that would probably be a good time to do that.
Okay. And then, for some reason, and thank you for the information on the blood work. That's helpful.
Yeah. Is that helpful?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
I'll try to get that done this week.
Yeah, let me know what they do. So just so you know, Patty and I were chatting, via email about, she wants to see if her insurance will cover some of these labs, which is great, and I don't blame her. It's just I have done this with hundreds of clients where like you go to your doctor and you're like, oh, and Patty, I don't think I sent you your test, so I still have to do that. I spaced on that. I'm gonna go and mark that email unread so I remember to do it. Yes, okay, it's there. I saw you message Mac, so I'll get back to you on that. What ends up happening is you go to your doctor, and if you go with the list of stuff that we looked at, they'll probably run a CMP, which is a complete metabolic panel. And they'll do a CBC, which includes like your white blood cells, your red blood cells, the neutrophils, stuff like that. Which altogether is probably maybe around 20 markers or so. And sometimes they'll only run one and not the other. But often more, I can remember arguing with my children's doctor years ago when both of them were like not menstruating. So we ended up going to, what was it? It must have been someone who specialized in hormones. It was like at a women's health place. And, he did blood work and he's like, okay, hematocrit and hemoglobin, nope, iron's fine. And I was like, you can't say that. He goes, I never run iron unless hematocrit and hemoglobin is out of whack. Well, this is what I learned in functional medicine. Hematocrit and hemoglobin are the very last things that fall out of whack when you have iron deficiency. So that's when you have full-blown iron deficiency anemia, where if you did the iron work, the iron blood work, or for someone like you, Patty, like you had higher iron. So hematocrit and hemoglobin would be the last ones to be elevated. And by then there's already damage done by having too much iron in your body. And so it's important to do these nutrient things. And it's the same thing with like B12 or folate deficiency anemia. Like it's the same thing. The MCV, the MCHC, the MCH are going to be the last things that go out of whack. But we could detect it earlier by taking, B12 and folate. So,
well, my nurse practitioner is pretty open to, she's really quite open to
awesome.
a lot of ways of doing things, not just the Western way. So
Very
we'll see if they can actually include that on my blood work. And then what she doesn't, if not, then I'll come back to you and we'll see what else I need to do about that, because we definitely I want to look at all that, but I definitely want to look at the iron.
Yeah. Because you've now donated once.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And it's been how long?
I think it was in August.
Okay, this is good timing. So it's about 3 months later. So it'll let us know like if it's crept back up. I mean, we can assume that it fell down after the donation, but if it's crept back up now, then maybe, and if it's high, if it's normal, then you're probably good for another 2 or 3 months before another donation. And I can give you some feedback on that. But if it's high again, then you might know like this might be something I need to do quarterly.
Yeah. Okay.
For every person, it's different. I
Yeah.
recently had someone at my other job donate twice within a 3-month period, and it was too much. Her numbers fell too low. So each person's different. I like to say donate, wait a couple months, and then we'll retest and see where you're at.
Okay. And so other than just you're sending me my initial blood work that I can't seem to find, those are all the questions that I have right now. So thank
Okay.
you.
Cool. And what would you say, which symptoms still come and go for you? Is it the bloating
The bloating and the gas.
and the gas? And is it are particular foods, have you noticed that it's particular foods that cause it more than others? Or are you still like, I don't know? Because I'd love to help you figure that out.
Yeah, I'm wondering, I've been really off sugar.
Mhm.
And then I've tried to maybe have some of the stevia that like is in chocolate. So
Mhm.
I'll have some of that. I don't know if stevia is a good thing for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
That might be a stomach problem, maybe.
For some
Um,
people, they have a hard time with those sort of sugar substitutes.
Yeah, and I thought I'd try monk fruit sugar to see if that might be good.
Yeah, you could
I don't know.
you could check it out for sure. So what if you went a couple of days without chocolate to sort of test and see if it might be the stevia? If you've
Yeah.
been consistently eating chocolate with stevia, it might be worth taking a couple days off and see, hey, did this help?
Yeah. But anyway, but as far as like reducing, going gluten-free, for the most part, I do eat sourdough bread and that seems to be okay.
Okay.
And then the sugar and then the dairy-free for the most part. I do eat feta and
Okay.
goat cheese,
Okay.
but that seems like by giving up a lot of that has been helpful.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of, still. And I wondered if that elongated colon thing was
I
the
know.
thing, so.
I do want to ask some people about that. I'm trying to think of like the right person to ask that like focuses more on the gut. I could ask in our collaborative meeting and see if just anyone has heard of that before.
Okay. Yeah, I
'Cause
just
it's worth asking.
Yeah. I mean, it may be just a thing, and then I
Yeah.
wouldn't have to just keep on, doing this big hunt.
Yeah.
But anyway, additional information is all.
Yeah.
So,
And remind me, have you done Atrantil?
pardon me.
Have you tried Atrantil at all? The supplement?
I actually, no, I don't know what that is.
Okay. Email me about it and we can chat about it. For some people, it really can help. For people that have like some methane dominant bacteria in their gut, which I don't think yours was high, but I think it was present. Yep, normal but present. For some people that helps degrade methane, and they do notice improvements in their gas and bloating.
Okay, so what was it called again?
Trantil. You can find it. You don't need a thing from me, but you can find it on FullScript. It was created by a GI doc.
Okay. And did you say it was CRANTIL?
No, Atrantil. So ATRANTIL.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's really helped people like with SIBO too, methane dominant SIBO. So we didn't do a SIBO test on you, but you had methanobacteria present, which always makes me think, SIBO, not SIBO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Miss Nancy, you're still in close quarters. Closed quarters, I should say.
It took me a while to unmute. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Yes, very close quarters. This is quite the snug little place. I'll give you guys a quick tour. It's horrible. Actually have too much of my stuff scattered about because that's my one window. That's my wall.
Does anyone remember? So Nancy's doing FEMA work down in Florida from Hurricane Ian.
I'm in Fort Myers. Where I think is it Patty that's coming down here?
No, it was David and Kathy.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, it's warm down here.
Good.
So, this disaster response is extremely stressful
Yeah.
for everybody. Not only because it's such a big one, but which has a lot of stress factors to it. And then when Hurricane Nicole started coming here, they didn't want us in this temporary mobile housing. So they dispersed us throughout the state. And I spent 4 days in Miami at the Miami Blue Lagoon Hilton, which was very nice and had a great view, which was super nice after being in this little room with no view. But the whole move there and the whole move back was really stressful. And I leave for a rotation on Friday. I'll get to be home for 2 weeks, which will be nice. And I hope some miracle happens and they don't bring me back. So, and yeah, and I think this is going to be my last long-term deployment like this. I've been doing it for 13 years and I just don't have it in me anymore. I want to be home with my family and it's time to think about something else.
Yeah.
So, and I do have a possibility to do short deployments where I just help train people. If they don't send me on those, then I think my FEMA career is finished. So that's okay. In the meantime, yeah, I've
Work, but it's got to be a lot.
it is a lot. Well, sometimes you're sent to a very simple disaster in a neat area of the country where I would never think of visiting. And I really enjoy being there. But all of them have a certain level of stress, but they can be pretty nice at times too. So I have physically gone through quite a bit here. I've dealt with, I just am, I think, coming out of my second bout of constipation with a real episode of loose bowels a few days ago. But I'm still taking all of my current supplements except one. It's the powder one. I just kind of felt overwhelmed by things for a while. And I also felt like this will sound weird. I felt like I had a real increase in body smell. And
Do you think that was the repair fight?
I don't know. I have no idea what it was. I just did some hygiene changes, which seemed to help. And I did actually quit taking that for a while. So, but that was also kind of feeling a little bit
You know
overwhelmed
what,
with.
Nancy? I think it's the butyrate. You know, it's so interesting. I have had 2 young people tell me this about the butyrate. Otherwise, I don't think I would have connected it. They say it smells really bad. Has anyone else noticed a smell with the butyrate? I've taken it myself before and I didn't notice the smell.
I didn't notice it smelled bad.
Okay. You're saying it changed your smell.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it goes together, like if it smells like, is it coming out in your pores or something like that, you know? Like it's just interesting to me because I've had all sorts of other adults on it, but these 2, I have one 14-year-old boy on it and then one like 22-year-old girl, and both of them are like, I don't want to take it. It smells so badly.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. But I think I've kept taking that. That's one of the capsules, right?
It's capsule, yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing all of those still. So I don't know.
But you think it might have been the powder, the Repairvite, that changed your?
I don't really know.
Okay.
I don't know if that it was that or our water, I don't think is pumped in here. I think it's in storage tanks. I only suspect that because there's a big milk truck that's been parked at the end of our units and they're not going through that much milk. So I think they're using it for water. And I almost wonder if they put something in the water to condition it, to preserve it. I have no idea. So it's a whole world in the
Repairvite left. I would definitely, if you can get back on it. I know you had to like restart taking, maybe, did you end up doing the activated charcoal when you had that bout of diarrhea?
No, I actually ended up not taking that. I didn't get a chance to take it when I was feeling desperate and things seemed to mellow out.
Do you think you just ate something that irritated your tummy?
It's possible. That is a possibility. It's hard to say. That was a really high stress time.
Yeah. Well, you know, we feel stress in our gut for a reason. It's all connected, you know, there's so many nerves there, and our stress can certainly stimulate stuff that can come up for us within our gut. Yeah. I went to a chiropractor today, and he did this release in my stomach today, and he's like, you're holding on to a lot of emotional stress in your stomach.
Oh,
He didn't even tell me that he released it. He told me later. He's like, oh, what I did on your stomach was an emotional stress release. And I was like, oh, wow. And then like all day long, my stomach has felt like so at ease and relaxed. It's been really nice.
that's great. I've never heard of a chiropractor doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. This guy was not full of personality, but I'm hoping he's fixing my shoulder and my husband's shoulder. And I'm like, okay, he doesn't have to be my best friend, but if he can work magic, awesome.
Chiropractors can be an odd group.
Yeah. So prior to this little bout of diarrhea, your gut had been feeling pretty okay. And are you back to being pretty okay, or are you still in a transition period?
It kind of then went into constipation, and I'm trying to take care of that right now.
Okay. What are you?
We'll know more later.
Yeah. What are you using right now that's helpful?
Well, I used a suppository this morning. I've been trying to drink a lot of water. That's really pretty much about it.
Do you have any chia seeds with you?
Oh, no, I don't, but I have been taking that herbal mixture that I've been on for a while. I can go look at it. It's a liquid. Let me grab it.
Herbal mixture.
It's Iberogast.
Oh, Iberogast. Yeah. Okay.
My gastroenterologist had recommended it a while back, and I was on it quite steady. And then before this deployment happened, I just seemed to feel like I didn't need it. So I decreased it. And then when I came on the deployment, I was down to just like 5 drops a day. I just didn't bring an open bottle with me. I just brought a closed one. And so I didn't take it for a few weeks, and then the constipation happened again. So I did start that up, and
Okay.
in that, I think it does help.
It does help stimulate the migrating motor complex. I do like to use it as a motility agent. That, and there's a capsule that I use called Motil Pro. Both of those sort of help things move along.
Oh, okay. I'll write that one down too.
Cool. Any questions for me?
I don't think so. And I apologize if I yawn. I haven't had a lot of sleep.
No worries. All right. I have Joyce in the next corner.
I'd rather somebody else go next.
Okay. How about, is Rudy still? Oh, there's Rudy. You popped up. How about Rudy?
Hi. Yeah, I'm good. All the symptoms have had some positive outcomes. High blood pressure is down. Reflux, I wouldn't know because I haven't changed my medication, which is just a half of omeprazole every other day. So it's minimal, but I didn't really expect the reflux to change, frankly. But it is, I don't know, maybe I should expect some change with the diet and the supplements. Should I?
Yeah, and I mean, we can, so tell me, do you feel like you still need to take the omeprazole? Have you gone off of it to see how you do?
No, I haven't. And it would be really easy because usually if, so I'm taking alternate days. If I just skip one within a day or 36 hours, I will feel the acid coming up. So it's pretty quick response. So I could test it. I
So
just,
remind me, did you say you're taking 1/2 of an omeprazole every other day?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's minimal, but usually if I miss, I will feel it by the next day. So just saying, it'll be easy to test,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because so yeah, I wasn't even really thinking about the reflux, but I'm just looking at my list now.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, inflammation is down. My knees feel great. My shoulders feel great. And I don't know about my prostate and the bladder urgency is still there, but I've I was down to 25% caffeine, but there was a couple of days where I felt like I was tired and needed more, and so got up to 50%, and I haven't come back down to 25%. So I'm pretty sure that caffeine is the culprit to a great extent. So I can manage it.
okay.
And weight is still down in the 166, 167 range, which is pretty much a 5-pound decrease since we started.
Okay.
So my question is, yeah, so this is our last group meeting, right?
Mhm.
So what happened, I am gonna get retested, more blood tests, and I know that we can have a chat after that.
Yep.
What happens from here? Specifically, how do I know when certain supplements aren't needed anymore and I can weed them out?
Yeah, yeah. So I would say, I mean, I guess that sort of depends. I guess I would want to take a look at them and compare them to what your retest is telling us as far as I'm just looking at your, let's see. For you, a lot of it was nutrient things. So the D was low, the zinc was low, the folate was low. So we want to make sure that your nutrient levels are optimized. And so ideally, you utilize a short period of time of supplements to bring you back up to an optimal level, and then you maintain it with, eating nutrient dense foods. And pretty much all the nutrients that I test, you could keep your levels looking pretty dang good if you eat an omnivorous diet, and if you include oysters or clams once a week, and or twice a week, or you could do liver organ meats once a week. And usually using just those 2 servings of super nutrient dense foods will be enough to help me, and eating other really good foods. You're not going to like just eat that and then eat potato chips. You're going to eat that in addition to, cooking. I've got a chicken roasting in the oven right now, and with acorn squash and butternut squash and onions and broccoli, well, it's not broccoli, Brussels sprouts. And then, I'm going to take all the meat out after that, and I'm going to make a bone broth. So tomorrow will be soup, and, I'll get all the good collagen that's in the chicken. And so you have to continue to eat those ways and the fermented foods. So that's sort of what the ideal is. And because you're retesting, we will know more what your nutrient status is. It's usually my recommendation to retest so that we could see, like, Oh, the B12 was really low too. So my sort of thoughts are for you that because B12 was so low, like it was, I like to see it over 500, and yours, Rudy, was 211. So that might take months of supplementing. Because for you, it might also be an absorption thing. And being on omeprazole for how long have you been on it?
Forever. Yeah, many years.
So one of the side effects of those types of medications is decreased absorption of iron. Your iron, I think, was actually decent, so that's great. But it's usually decreased absorption of iron, B12, and zinc. So I see low zinc and I see low B12 from your first test. So coming off of that would probably help your nutrient deficiencies. And I would love to chat about how to come off of that. I've helped a lot of people come off of those types of pills because there's other things you can do to stimulate. So people go on these acid lowering drugs thinking that it's kind of like statin. Like people think like, oh, cholesterol is bad, lower it. So people think that doctors, it's kind of like this really misunderstood, and I'm happy to share some resources on this so you don't have to just take my word for it. But oftentimes doctors think that acid reflux is because of high acid, which it actually has to do with the opposite. So what will end up happening is as we age, the stomach acid actually decreases. And then when it decreases, we can become more susceptible to having gut infections like H. pylori, which you had a little bit of, like things like SIBO. And so those are bacteria that end up producing carbon dioxide and methane gases. And when gas is produced in the upper GI, in the lower GI, it causes us to fart, right? In the upper GI, it causes to push up on that valve between the stomach and the esophagus. And when that valve is pushed up, guess what happens? You get reflux. Acid is supposed to be high in the stomach. It's supposed to be. It's like, it's our first line of defense of killing off bacteria, viruses, things that we don't really want in our bodies. So if you're constantly lowering the acid in your stomach, you're making yourself more susceptible to being sick. You're also decreasing your ability to digest and absorb nutrients. So even though it might help your symptoms, it worsens other things.
Okay.
So what I like to do is have people try to like wean themselves off of that. Maybe take a little bit of apple cider vinegar to get the juices flowing before you prepare for a meal. I also really like to get people into a parasympathetic state before a meal, not just eat on the go. Really sit down, smell the food, think about something calming, maybe do something of a form of appreciation so that your body's nice and relaxed to help you better digest your food. Yeah, I'm happy to like troubleshoot this with you, Rudy, because I guess I didn't realize that was still something you were taking. And yeah, I know it was, if it was a goal to come off of it, which I think it should be, I'd like to help you with it. So
Okay.
let's play around with that. There's other things you can do for sure.
Can I just go back to the omnivorous
Yes.
diet? And so did you say oysters and clams? Now, did you mean raw oysters? Because I don't do raw oysters. We're doing smoked oysters.
Oysters, period. I don't care if you smoke them, cook them,
Yeah. And I'm doing about a half a can, which is like about 6 of them each morning.
Amazing. I can't wait to see your zinc and B12 levels.
Okay. All right.
I'm so
Good.
excited.
Um,
May I interrupt for just a second and ask a question related to this? This is
Sure, sure.
Nancy.
Yeah.
Do mussels count in there with oysters and clams?
So mussels still have some of these nutrients, but the biggest hitters are the clams and the oysters.
Okay, thank
Yep.
you.
Yep, it's a good question.
okay. All right. Yeah, and I haven't been doing any bone broth or fermented foods. Uh, so that's an area I could do more with.
Yeah, yeah. And I will say the broth, and we're heading into a season now where the broth probably feels really good. It's hard to drink broth in the summertime, but now it's one of those sort of comfort foods. And remember, you can make it doesn't have to just be broth. You can make soups and make a meal out of it if you're, someone who doesn't enjoy just drinking a cup of broth, which some people don't, and that's okay.
So I make a batch of chicken soup every week out of chicken legs. And, so the broth comes from the cooking the chicken legs and then vegetables and then pulled
Yeah,
chicken. So
exactly.
that broth, uh,
That's not technically considered bone broth though, because there's a whole other additional process, right, Danielle, where you cook them longer and you get that gelatinous stuff. That's the, I mean, it's still good, but I don't know that that counts as us drinking bone broth.
So let me tell you, it depends which animal you're cooking. So the beef bones are more like throw it in the crock pot, leave it for 24 hours. That takes a long time to sort of extract stuff. Chicken, it's actually best 4.5 to 5 hours of cooking. So what I'll usually do, like tomorrow morning, tonight, I'll strip my chicken, get it all nice and naked, not much meat on it. I like to save the meat because then I'll save the meat and throw it in the actual soup tomorrow. So I'll strip it of most of its meat. You can't get all of it off. Some of it will be on there, which is good because it flavors the stock. Then in the morning, I'll put it in a pot and I'll just stick it either outside if it's cold enough, or I'll stick it in my fridge. First thing in the morning, I'll cover it in water. I save my veggie scraps through the weeks and I store them in a big freezer bag in my freezer. So the veins of collard greens, the veins of kale, whatever greens, the ends of broccoli that I don't want, the carrot tops, the ends of celery, garlic, onions, whatever it is that I'm cooking throughout the week. And I store it in a nice freezer bag. And when I'm ready to cook my broth, I'll dump it all in, garlic skins, and I'll let it all cook together. I bring it to a boil, and then I put it to a simmer, put the top on, add some salt and pepper, maybe even like a tablespoon of whatchamacallit, apple cider vinegar, because that helps extract the minerals out of the bones. You ever do that chicken bone experiment when you were a kid and like stick a chicken bone in vinegar, and then the next day you take it out and it's like it's extracted all the minerals out. So I really like to take advantage of getting the minerals from the bones. It's a great way to increase, calcium and keep our bones nice and strong. So I think the important part of making it nice and collagenous, I don't do it every single time. I don't do it perfect every single time, is to stir it maybe every half hour or so. And make sure that the bones, so say like a thigh and a leg bone, right? So make sure that it comes apart and it exposes the collagen. So if it stays together the whole time, that collagen won't come into the broth. So the magic time for chicken is about 4.5-ish hours. I'll just keep checking it. And if I see pieces of collagen still floating and it hasn't absorbed into it, I'll keep cooking it, keep stirring it. You'll have to experiment with it. There's a woman who wrote a book years ago. I remember when I first started eating meat and started getting into making bone broth, or started eating meat again, I should say. A friend of mine was telling me, because I was told to cook it for 24 hours. And he was like, I just read this book. It was life-changing. It's making the best broth. And it has to do with cooking, not overcooking it, because you can overcook it. How you know you did it really well is that when you stick it in the fridge and you bring it back out, it's collagen. It's not liquid. Pretty
Mhm.
magic. Like I said, I am not able to do it every single time. I wish it was a science. I feel like it's more of an art. So sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't, but that's the goal, just so you know, and you could play around with that.
Anything wrong with putting a few bay leaves and some thyme into it?
Nope.
Okay, I didn't think so, but
Nope. Make it nice
you
and
never
tasty.
know.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
well, thank you. I
You're
will
welcome.
yield
Let's
to the
make sure
next
we
person.
email about the omeprazole, okay? I've got some good ideas for you, so I want to
Okay.
make sure we chat.
Okay,
All right.
Rudy, I had a quick question for you, if that's okay. What would you say was the thing that helped your inflammation with your knees and your shoulder?
well, there were supplements that Danielle recommended, including inflammatone, but there's probably a few others. But no sugar, no dairy. When I went rebellious a couple of weeks ago, and Joyce makes these muffins that are on the diet because it's all it's non-wheat and it's coconut oil. But I started putting butter on them because people have said that I shouldn't do dairy, but butter's okay. And I was probably overdoing it. I mean, I usually overdo things. And I could feel it in my fingers right away.
Wow.
So no dairy,
Can I
no
ask you,
sugar.
can I ask you if you did grass-fed dairy or did you just do?
I
No.
did good butter. I did Kelly's,
You did the Kerrygold's
Kerrygold, yeah.
and it still caused inflammation for you.
Well, if I was used a reasonable amount, it may have made a difference. I'm sure that I overdid it. But so it was a combination of diet and supplements.
I'm glad that inflammatone worked for you. It's a good one. It's this combination of, oh, Shelly's coming in. It's a combination of some proteolytic enzymes. And then it has turmeric in it, boswellia, ginger, quercetin, rosemary, resveratrol. So all of those combined things does help. They have a lot of anti-inflammatory properties. Also helps protect against oxidative stress. So good. I'm glad you had good luck with that.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Found turmeric is helpful for me.
What is it?
Turmeric, I put about a teaspoon in my smoothie in the morning, and I find that that's done a lot of help for inflammation for me.
That's great. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, absolutely. All right, Dave and Kathy. I'm taking notes just so you all know, because I want to have where we started and where it
Go
ended
ahead.
for my own.
Okay, Kathy said I'm supposed to go first, so
Okay, you're up.
um,
No pressure.
no pressure. I've actually been about the same since last month. Nothing's really changed. My weight fluctuated a little bit, but last time I weighed, which was like last Thursday, I was as low as I've been. So I was at 198 and I was 218 or 219 when we started this. So I'm pleased, and I'm sure that I can probably do better than that. So I'm going to continue. I think knowing that I was gluten sensitive has made a huge difference. It was sort of like you mentioned maybe 2 months ago, that if your husband has gluten, he gets gas. Well, that's sort of been my experience too. So not that I've had a lot of it, but when I have, I've noticed that.
Yeah.
I'm just about finished with all the supplements. I got sort of interrupted there with some travel stuff. And this past weekend, I drove my parents back to Florida. So I, 3 or 4 days there, I was sort of off exercise, off good diet, just kind of taking care of them, getting them from place to place. So
It's hard to eat well when you're traveling in a car, right?
yes.
Yeah.
So other than that, I feel good. We brought some dairy back in, and it doesn't seem to be a problem.
Okay.
I
How about
think
the
just
blood
for me,
pressure?
staying off the gluten has been the key.
Yeah. And the blood pressure's been okay?
Yeah, it's been good. I'm gonna see. I think I have to wait 6 months to get tested again, which should be early December, and have it covered by insurance. So
Okay.
I'm gonna try and get that set up.
Good, good.
And I may email you now that I'm basically finishing up and see what supplements you think you would recommend. I don't think I'm going to retest, everything, but I am just going to do my regular blood work for my primary.
Yeah. I can totally let you know which markers, and this goes for everybody. I just did this for Patty the other day because she wanted to see if her doctor would cover it. I'm so happy to like remind you because I have a list of all the markers that were off. So I'm happy to provide you with the ones that were off. And if you can get it, connect or get it covered by your doctor, that's awesome. So yes, taking vitamin D, Dave.
Yeah.
Okay, good, good. We all should be right now, unless you're living in Florida and out in the sun every day, you're not getting enough anymore, unfortunately. I was in Croatia in October, and I think I waited 2 weeks after I got back and I started taking it. It's just not. I mean, yes, was it 2 days ago? Was it yesterday? 2 days ago. It was beautiful. I think it was probably beautiful everywhere. If it was 75 in Maine, I'm sure where you were living, it was really nice too. But it's just, we're not getting consistent enough strong sun or probably spending that much time out in the sun. So it's important to make sure we're doing that. And Dave, have you had an update on your triglycerides?
No, that would be at that same time.
Cool. Definitely let me know, because I know like you had a dramatic improvement after doing the diet for just a couple of weeks. So I'd be curious to see where you are now.
Me too.
Yeah. And how are the Captain Morgans and Diet Cokes? Have they hit the road? Or are you just drinking?
Oh, they're not going to hit the road. That's
Okay.
part of being me. So birdie juice in the 19th hole is not going to go away. So.
Okay.
But moderation is good. So yeah.
All righty. Well, happy to hear. Maybe you can mix it with like soda water or something. I am not someone who abstains from alcohol, just so you know. I am not that good. If I have one vice in my life, it's I like a glass of wine. We spent time in Brazil. We fell in love with this alcohol called cachaça. And we make caipirinhas a couple days a week. So I don't abstain. I'm not thinking that that's a sustainable way to live by any means. To me, it's all about like drinking cleaner alcohol, cleaner wines, not adding a lot of sweeteners, not using a lot of junk with it. Yeah.
What
Cool.
are cleaner alcohols and cleaner wines?
Good question. So I like the wines that have like no sulfites. If they're grown in the US, I'll get an organic one. Usually if the grapes are from abroad and the wine's made abroad, they have a lot less additives to them, like the old world wines like Portugal and Italy and France and Spain. Those I find I can drink and not have a headache the next day. If I drink like a cheap California wine, oh, forget it. I have a headache.
Huh.
Yeah, yeah.
My problem.
Maybe.
Getting into red
Sorry.
wine season here. Yeah. Do you like to drink wine, Kathy?
I don't drink a lot, but sometimes, yeah. I mean, I don't like beer and I don't like, I mean, mixed drinks are okay, but like you said, they have a lot of sugar and whatever in them. So I just figure, and I don't like red wine. So white wine. I noticed that I used to like margaritas, but then my nose would get stuffy. And I don't know what that's all about, but, and sometimes when I drink wine, so that sulfite thing that you said, I'll have to pay attention to that, see if so I don't drink a lot, but socially once in a while.
That once in a while. Yeah.
And you just don't want to feel bad when you do that. Just
Totally.
from one glass of wine, you feel bad. That's not fun.
Like if I'm going to drink vodka, I like to drink like Tito's because I know it's gluten free and it doesn't hurt my stomach. I remember drinking, I think it was Stoli was the only kind of vodka they had in Brazil. And I got so bloated. It's got gluten in it. So yeah, figuring out which alcohols have gluten if you have determined that gluten is a sensitivity for you. It's important to, you know, make sure that you keep those at bay. So how are other things, Kath?
I've been just trying to find my information and to ask questions because I have not prepared for this. I'm still taking pills, taking a lot of pills, and I'm almost done with some of them. I'm finished with some, you know, the liver stuff that you gave me at first. So I'm winding that down, and there was a powder that I'm finished with. But I get some blood tests done tomorrow morning for my physical next week. And I asked about having those extra things that you said to have tested. And they are going to test some of those, but not all of them.
Okay.
So tomorrow I'll get a list of what they were testing and what I still need to have done and maybe do them through you or.
Yep. Did I send you all of the markers that were off?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
Let me
What
send that to
recently?
you. And this way you can have it when you go to the doctor tomorrow and you could say, hey, you're running
Okay.
XYZ. Can you run these as well? Or could, you know, retest these? These were off before. And, you know, I would just tell them they were off. And like, because I'm looking at different values, right? Than they are. So they might say like, oh, those weren't off. Why do you need to retest those? But in fact, you know, we explained at one point, right, the functional ranges, which are nice and tight, and there's no disease that exists within them. And then for some people, like disease can exist here, you know, and these are the lab ranges. And if you're outside of those, disease is full blown. So we try to.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, I just sent it to you.
Let's see what else. I am out of the effervescent magnesium, I think. You wanted me to take that instead of, I think I was taking Miralax and magnesium citrate tablets. And
Yeah, as long
so
as you're taking some sort of magnesium citrate for your bowels and stay away from the Miralax. What was it as effective for keeping constipation at bay?
well,
And
I don't
dose.
know.
So tell me how much you were taking also.
Oh, well, I was taking one of those scoops per night
Okay.
in some water.
And then the caplets, I think I was taking 2 a day. I think you said I could take it twice a day. Those caplets, I could take 2 twice a day. But I don't think I ever did that.
Okay. 1 scoop of the magnesium citrate was 420 milligrams. That usually does the trick for people, but some people need 1.5 scoops a day, or some people need 2 scoops a day. So it's all of balancing it out and trying to figure out what's best for you. I'm happy if you want to take capsules, or it could be the powder. It's up to you. In my experience, the magnesium citrate pills that have enough, why I've switched to the powder is that to have enough, the pills are enormous and I can't stand swallowing them.
Yeah, they're pretty big.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like when you're traveling or something, they're more convenient than mixing in a powder.
Totally.
I was
How's
just
your
trying to find.
Kathy?
How's my what?
Fatigue.
I couldn't hear you.
Fatigue.
Oh, I'm tired and I'm in pain, and that hasn't changed.
Joint pain.
Pardon me?
The joint pain.
Yeah, and my neck and head. I don't know whether I can't remember what I told you, my 5 things, at the beginning of this, what they were. I think they were fatigue and pain.
Yep.
I don't know what I should be doing for those. Is there some kind of anti-inflammatory thing that I've been taking that hasn't helped, or what have I taken anything for inflammation?
Yeah, I wonder, I mean, this is the thing, is like for Rudy, I gave it to him because he had actual like inflammatory markers that were high on his.
Okay, I didn't.
You didn't really have any inflammatory markers that were high. You're pretty good. But I'm
That's
happy
odd.
for you to try like that inflammatone if you want to. I mean, Rudy really thinks it helped his joints. So
No, if I don't show anything in my tests, then maybe I'm not a doctor. I don't know.
yeah.
It might be, I might need something else. I would go by my tests, whatever they showed.
Yeah.
So I'm still looking for that effervescent stuff. Anyway,
I'll be
I
curious.
think Repair Bite SE. I'm out of that. Repair Bite SE. I'm not sure what that was for.
I think one round of that should be okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Well.
Yeah,
Oh, 1 scoop. Yeah. Okay.
let me know what other supplements are sort of finishing up, and I'm happy to sort of, email with you and let you know, like, if there's a nutrient that was really low that you should continue to do this. Or I'm really also very curious to hear how your liver enzymes come back. For me, that was probably the most concerning of everything.
Okay.
And I'll be curious to see, because usually if the enzymes are high, then that means like the detoxification system is down. So we did chlorella for you, which really helps the detoxification system. And then we did that sort of what's it called?
Push catch.
Catch,
Yeah.
yeah.
That
And,
was that. I did not like that. I mean, it didn't taste bad, but it was black, and you're drinking this black, gritty, grainy stuff. And
yeah.
then you have to do the little teaspoon of the other stuff with it. It was just hard to time it all, and so hopefully it helped. And when you go through taking all these things, I think maybe Rudy asked, I don't know, do you need to keep taking them, or are you good?
Yeah,
after
not,
one
not
round.
often, but most things you're only gonna do once, so it depends what it is, like unless your gut was really, really off, one round of the GI Synergy is gonna be enough. Um, you know, remind me, are you on, what's it called? Can't think of the name of it. It's the stuff for the liver.
Um,
What is it?
Milk thistle?
Thank you. I'm like, why can't I think of
no,
this? Okay.
I have not taken that.
All right. So I'm thinking since the liver thing's done, that taking milk thistle will be helpful. My mother had hepatitis back in what year was it? She had it a while ago, maybe the 90s she found out, early 2000s. And she ended up, she had very elevated liver enzymes, and she went to like a naturopathic doctor who milk thistle totally ended up normalizing her liver enzymes. So I wanted to do that detoxification because you had your GGT, which was really high too. So I thought, let's open up the detoxification systems, and now would probably be a good time. So the next time you order, I'll put it in there. Do some milk thistle also.
How much?
I would just say probably a capsule a day.
Okay.
But I'll put it on there. Not that one.
And do I need to do, I'm worried about the length of time, I guess, after having taken some of this stuff to be retested or to take something. I mean, am I letting too much time pass after finishing those things to get tested again? I mean, I guess
Yeah, I
I
think
just want to know what they were after I got done taking them and I didn't retest. So
yeah. So you're going in like this week to get your labs done, or tomorrow?
yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's good timing to get them done for sure. And again, I sent it to you. So we'll see. Remind me, did we discuss doing a blood donation?
Yes, and I did give blood once.
Good. Good. 'Cause
Do I need to keep doing it?
retesting your iron markers will tell us that. It
Okay.
probably wouldn't be a bad idea to give it twice a year to just be safe, because you're menopausal now. So oftentimes women don't realize they have iron overload until after they go through menopause, because we don't have that natural way of alleviating high iron in our body by menstruating every month. So oftentimes it'll get picked up post menopause. Yours
Okay.
weren't horrible. But with the high liver enzymes, I worry that it could be contributing. So I'll see them go. And also with your joint pain, I worry that it might be contributing. So needing a joint replacement before the age of 60 is often connected to having iron overload.
Well, I have not had a joint replacement, thank goodness.
Good. But it can also cause joint pain.
Ah.
Yep.
I don't remember what my
cause joint pain.
Calcium. Without, when we're not having dairy, and I worry about getting enough calcium, I guess. And I take calcium because it constipates me. And having broken a couple of bones in the last few years, and having been told I have soft bone in my shoulder, I'll have to ask. Well, I just need to have a bone density taken, I guess.
Yeah. And I have another form of calcium that I recommend. I think, Nancy, are you on the Bone Up? You're on the Bone Up, right?
I am.
Oh, and Patty is. Does it constipate?
Yes,
Is
I
anyone
am.
constipated by it? Not that they know
I-
of.
I don't think so. I don't think that's causing any of what I have.
And for me, I lean in that direction anyway, and I don't think it's contributing to that.
Okay. So if you want to try that, you certainly can. So I don't like women to just take any old calcium. It's got to be hydroxyapatite, which is actually crushed bones. So it's like body totally knows what to do with it. I have noticed, well, there is a correlation, there is a thought that women used to not get heart disease, and one of the reasons is that they weren't always taking calcium as they got older, and that once the doctor started telling people to take calcium, it's usually in the form of calcium citrate, that the incidence of heart disease was going up in women, because calcium, when it's taken in that form, ends up depositing like in our arteries and in our soft tissue, causing
Ugh.
yeah. So it's really an important thing about, what kind of calcium you take.
Yeah. Okay.
This bone up 3 a day. When folks are, either osteopenia or osteoporosis, I will recommend this.
What if you're not? Maybe I don't need
Maybe you
that
don't,
much.
maybe you
We
don't.
just, I'd need to know what my calcium level was or a bone density. What would determine if I needed to take that or not?
Yeah, unfortunately, calcium levels don't really tell us about what's in our bones. It's not.
Okay. So I would need a bone density to see if I needed that calcium supplement you're talking about. Okay.
Well, you said that you've broken a few bones the past few years.
Yeah.
So
A foot, a wrist.
yeah. And when you came to me, you had vitamin D deficiency. So
Vitamin D. Yeah, that vitamin D, I've not been taking that every day. I do when I think of it.
So how about this? When you think of it, take a double dose, because vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin. You don't have to take it every day, but whatever it is we talked about taking in a week's time, make sure you get it in, even if it's only twice a week. So if you're supposed to take 5,000 IUs a day in the winter, which is generally what I recommend to people, 4,000 to 5,000, I'll have people take it all on one day a week, take it on Sunday. You don't have to
Wow.
take it every day. Yep.
Huh.
It'll stay with you, because it sort of gets stored in your fat tissue.
Well, that brings up that you can overload on fat soluble vitamins, right? How do you know if you're doing that?
You can. It happens. I mean, I think maybe one of you came to me with high vitamin D, and so you can over supplement. You have to take about 10,000 IUs per day. So that would be 70,000 in a week, and you got to do it for over 30 days, and then you'll start seeing your vitamin D levels getting too high. But you started off lower, and we're in a state now where we're not getting a lot of sunshine. When you move to Florida, you might have to take less.
Yeah. And I'm not going to be in the sun as much or have a lot of sunblock on or something.
Right. Yeah. Where
She's gonna walk every day in the sun. She's gonna be fine.
yeah.
Walk outside. Let's see.
Mixture of walking and sunshine does it for me. But yeah, Kathy, definitely email me and give me an update of what's gone, what you still have, and I'll be able to give you better individual feedback for that.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, all right, Joyce, are you ready?
Yes, hello.
Hi.
So I restarted taking Interface and GI Synergy because we still had some left, and I had a gap for a while where I wasn't taking it.
Okay.
So, but I'm finishing that up. And so there might be something else I'm supposed to take after that. You said for gut restoration, there's and I don't know if Rudy took that when he finished up.
That was the repair bite.
Oh, repair bite. That's what you guys have been talking about. Rudy, did you take some of that?
Yeah,
Do we still have some?
yeah.
Okay.
Powder.
So we have some of this. So I guess,
I would recommend each person goes through a bottle of it. It doesn't
Okay.
last very long. If you do it once a day, it'll last for about 30 days. If you're doing it twice a day, which I don't think I told any of you to do it twice a day. I'll have some people who come to me with real bad stomach pain. I'll get them on that right away for twice a day, once in the morning, once at bedtime. But I don't think
so I should get my own container of this. 'cause
I would
Rudy
recommend
finished
taking
this
it
up.
for,
Okay.
yeah.
And what's this one?
And you also prescribe
Oh, butyrate stuff?
butyrate.
Yeah.
The stuff that smells good.
Does it smell that bad? Can you open it up and smell it? I'm so curious. I don't have any on me right now.
It had
Yeah, it's kind of
it
nasty.
had a note with it explaining the smell, and I think it's pretty nasty.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't smell good at all. So I need to get both of these things as well. Go through a bottle of those.
I would,
Okay.
and I'm just looking at your test, 1 second. It's. All right, Joyce, here we go. Joyce. Yeah,
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Do you need to recommend those or can I just order them?
I think I need to recommend them, so I'm gonna go in there right now. I have to at least recommend the repair bite, because that one, Apex doesn't let people just order it. Okay. What's your next question? You and I have been troubleshooting a bunch.
Yeah, and so we're gonna redo our blood test. I've been wondering whether, like, on what situation would you have somebody redo the stool test? Because I have still belching after meals sometimes, and I wonder whether there's still something off in my gut that's causing that.
Yep.
Sometimes I have a bit of heartburn in the last, few months, and seems like it's gotten a little worse. And I tried taking Motil Pro for constipation, and that gave me almost immediate heartburn. It was weird.
Oh,
So I was
interesting.
taking it after a meal, and there's something about it. Anyway, so I don't know, but I'm curious about the belching after meals.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was something I was going to bring up with Rudy, that, so do you think, let me just check in. Do you think it's certain foods that might do that? Or do you think, have you not been able to connect those?
Yeah, I'm not sure I can make a connection. Yeah, it's certainly not that it's like, oh, every time I eat that particular thing so that I can pinpoint it. It's more frequent than that. So
And does it happen to be when you take your cod liver oil pill?
I do those with breakfast,
Are you
but I
burping?
do have belching after dinner as well. So
So it's not just that, because some people have belching after they
the cod liver oils.
yeah. So I wanted to check in.
But I am taking GLA. That's an oil too, right? I'm doing that twice a day.
Okay. I mean, I suppose you could sort of play around and have a meal with no supplements and see if you're burping.
That's a good idea.
If you're not, then, take one supplement at a time with the meal and see if you can sort of narrow down which one might be causing burping, or if it's causing burping. I mean, is it like is it a real pain in the neck, or is it just a little
It's
nuisance?
not that bad, but it's actually been for several years. 'Cause I remember I was with my cousin and I was sitting next to him and I had one of these burps and I didn't burp out loud, but he's like, "You're the belchiest woman I've ever met." I mean, he's the kind of cousin that will say anything to you. So I guess that wasn't the only time that I was burping in vicinity because he sort of noticed that. So I think I'm sort of used to it that I burp a lot, but I know that I didn't yet earlier in my life. It was
Okay.
kind of rare to have a burp like, "Oh, I burped," but I do it a lot. So I don't know if it's
You drink soda water or effervescent type stuff? No, you just drink raw regular water. You're not obviously drinking soda.
no.
No, because I do notice that I'll burp when with soda water for sure.
Yeah, no.
Um, so another sort of trick that you could try is what I told Rudy to do is take a little bit of apple cider vinegar before you eat a meal.
Okay.
It might help with the digestive juices flowing.
Okay. And Ayurvedically speaking, my digestive fire is low. I don't have a strong appetite. So I don't get really, really hungry unless I skip like 2 meals. I have to wait and skip 2 meals before I start to actually feel hungry. I
Okay.
think some of that might be related to my antidepressant because my history is that after I started taking antidepressants, I noticed that I didn't have the sensation of hunger that much. So, but it also feels like I just don't. Yeah, that if I overload my system, I can't overload my system the way that I used to be now and then, like eat too much for a meal and
Yeah,
expect to be able to digest it well. So I have to be careful about quantities too.
I'm listening, Joyce. I just have to turn my oven off so my chicken doesn't burn.
Okay, all right. I don't know if I have any other questions really. After we redo our blood tests, then we can talk about if there's anything else that I can discontinue taking.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
Yeah, and I guess still the question about in general, is doing a stool test once a year, do you only do it if you start feeling like you have problems? Because I think we don't necessarily know that our gut is way off.
Yeah, it's true.
It's evident.
What I usually tell people when I'm working with them is like, if you're continuing to have gut issues, it's not a bad idea to do a retest. If
Mhm.
you're feeling pretty good, I would just go with that and save your money.
Mhm.
Personally, I mean, that's what I do. Like, with my daughter, with myself, if I'm treating me or her or my husband. One thing that if one of the problems or the biggest contributor was H. pylori, that is one thing we could run separately, and it's a lot less expensive to just run that.
Mhm.
So that's an option if
I don't
anyone
think
that
was
was.
so high on mine, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I'm looking at the results right now. Present, not high is what I had. So
Yeah. And I have a lot of belching in the morning too.
before you
Sometimes,
eat
not
anything.
always. And I think it depends on how late I eat. So
Yeah.
I have to just manage that.
Start taking that apple cider vinegar. And if that doesn't work,
Mhm.
Rudy, we might want to consider the betaine hydrochloric acid. For some people, it's the magic bullet. For other people, it does nothing. So every person's different. I had to use, after my gut issues, I had to use betaine hydrochloric acid for a while, like probably for 2 years. And then I didn't know, I no longer needed it. Even to this day, once in a while, it's not all the time. If I eat a meal that's got a lot of protein, believe it or not, the protein gives me gas. Like there's something going on and I have a hard time digesting it. Not all the time, but sometimes. Eggs or chicken.
Mhm. Yeah, I think sometimes I think I do pretty well with with chicken. When we're eating lamb, it's pretty heavy. So I think
Try the apple cider vinegar first. And if
Okay.
that doesn't do enough, if you're still feeling like either burpy or, for Rudy, the
Mhm.
reflux, then, taking the betaine hydrochloric acid might be something to experiment with.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't really have a history of reflux, but in the last year, I would say it's come up more. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see. And I got that zinc shampoo. I haven't
Okay.
noticed any difference yet, but and what
Have you
else?
kept it in for a long period of time? I'm just wondering if you like kept it in, massaged into your scalp, and then put like a little shower cap on, left it on for like an hour.
Mm-hmm. I could try that. I'm definitely leaving it on. It says to leave it on for a few minutes, so I'm definitely doing that, but I haven't tried leaving it on for a long period of time.
I like-
Sometimes I sleep with, I'll put neem oil on my head, which is really stinky, but Rudy's fine with it. He doesn't mind. So I'll put neem oil on my scalp and sleep in that, or I have this other rosemary oil, just something to try to, do something nice for.
And
neem
Carrie,
is-
Carrie's a big fan of emu oil since I've known her for 20 years. She's like, emu oil is like,
Mm,
I don't know. She thinks it's miraculous. And the conference that I just went to, they were talking about the magic of emu oil also, ingesting it and topically.
okay.
I
So
use it also. I really like it.
you do. Okay, good to know. What do you use it for, Nancy?
It's actually an oil that's in a mixture that I get from a woman in Texas, and I use it on my face. But I keep the oils away from my eyes though, because that has caused some inflammation problems.
When I put coconut oil on my face, if I get it near my eyes are blurry for a while.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just popped into my head, Joyce. I hadn't thought about the emu oil before, but you said neem oil and my mind went there.
Yeah, my gut sense, while we're talking about gut, is that it's something internally that's
Yeah,
in thing, but it doesn't hurt to be kind to my scalp by putting things on it that are nurturing. So
yeah. I mean,
feels
we are
like I'm doing
still,
something good. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how we're gonna solve that. I don't think the food sensitivity test that you showed me, it's like, yeah, I think I would have to do an elimination diet, or as I said, if I started checking my heart rate to see if I'm having a reaction to anything in any of the things that we typically eat.
Yeah.
So it's just, yeah, it's just so strange that
So gluten and dairy have been totally out, right?
totally out. Yeah, I've
How
been
about
very good.
eggs?
Yeah.
How about eggs?
Oh, eggs. Yeah, I'm not eating eggs either, once in a great while, but no, they're not in my diet.
I'm like thinking about the things that are always like skin issues. And then, the other thought, like I said, were the nutrient deficiencies.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh, well, there are eggs in, we do put eggs in muffins that I make with that Simple Mills mix. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure that
There was
it's
a period of time where we didn't have eggs at all when we
Okay.
started working with you, and we didn't start using those Simple Mills mixes till, I don't know. Yeah. And I've eaten eggs, my whole life and never had a problem. So how does it all of a sudden,
right.
all of a sudden have a, I don't know.
Because it only came up a couple of years ago for you, right?
Yeah, and it started after the pandemic, and actually I wasn't eating eggs at that time, I don't think at all. I had been having oatmeal for breakfast for, I don't know, 6 months or something.
So my last sort of hope with the gut. So the fact that it started in a period of a stressful time, right? The pandemic, it was a stressful time. You all had to completely redesign how you work and your business, everything. I'm sure it was not unstressful.
Right.
That's the biggest cause of intestinal permeability. So that's what the Repair Vite is for, and the butyrate. So
Cross our fingers.
yeah. That was when I started doing, for my stressful time, it was causing my knuckles to be swollen. And it was when I started doing the bone broth every day. And I did take out I did figure out it was non-grass fed dairy that was doing it, but the combination of it helped my knuckles. And if I get stressed again, and if I think I could sneak in non-grass-fed dairy once in a while. My knuckles are okay, but if I have a lot of it, or if I eat it and I'm stressed, this is the first one. I get a little bump right here. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's just strange because I've just never had this in my life. And then, it just came on and haven't been able to get rid of it. So
Yeah.
we'll see. Well, I'm in therapy too. So if it's if it's that, then hopefully eventually it'll
And
heal.
I'm going to give you all the handout that we're not going to have time to go over today, but I have this like really awesome handout that I love about, how to all the different aspects that help decrease stress in our life. And, some of it's really obvious and maybe all of it's obvious, but it's a matter of trying to make sure that we get to do these things.
Yeah, that's the problem is, I lived in an ashram. I know a little bit about stress management. I
Oh,
felt, so it's just, yeah.
it's a matter of putting it into practice, right? Like,
Doing
it's
enough of it, yeah,
doing
to
it.
counteract whatever's going on, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
think we're
Sometimes
all
it's, like financial stress it's just kind of in the background. It just sort of is this like constant thing. So it's tricky.
Yeah, and running your own business, it's like things fluctuate, right? Like your income fluctuates. It's not this constant thing. So
Yeah.
get it.
It's not just, yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to go down that little, I'm not going to get on my soapbox about that.
Right.
But
Well, you and I are still continuing to work on this, and happy to do that with you.
Yeah.
All right, Miss Shelley, I'm glad you made it. How are you?
Thank you. I'm sorry I was late.
Yeah, no
Um,
worries.
so I am still working on doing all the things that are on my plan, but I have made some progress. And as long as I really stay on the sort of keto or paleo diet, things progress in it. But I feel like I have to walk a tightrope if I really want to stay on the plan. There's not a ton of wiggle room for me. So that's challenging. So I'll make progress and then I'll think, oh, I'm fine. I'm doing so much better. And then I kind of fall off the wagon and then everything goes way back and I have to really start over. It takes a long time to get back up on the tightrope. So it's not worth falling, but it makes it a hard way to live day to day. So I did finish the GI Synergy bucket and I ordered another one because I'm sort of behind. I just think I'm going to take longer to get full speed and then make my assessments after that. But I did clean a bunch of mold that was from 2 years ago that was in the windowsills because my son had an OCD crash and was taking these really long showers and the whole house just filled up with mold. And even though I had my mask mug on and my glasses, I couldn't see what I was doing. So I pulled the glasses up, I'd spray the water, all of it would come back on me, of course. I really needed a hazmat suit or to have someone else do it, but I didn't. And I really feel like it was a setback somehow. Mostly in my brain, actually. I mean, I feel like I've got like dementia, honestly. It's so bad. Well, I forget this video call every week and my whole life is like that. It's really bad. Terrible word recall. I mean, some of it's just stress and the pace of life and all this things of modern life, but there's something wrong with me. And it's concerning to me.
Are you taking that binder, Shelley?
Not yet.
Start taking it.
Because, okay, I have the NAC dose to do. It looks like I take that for 2 months when I get on it. I could start it right now. I'm ready. I've got everything is up to speed and has been for a while. I'm just so overwhelmed. Even adding one thing is so overwhelming to me. It sounds ridiculous. It's amazing. If I didn't have friends helping me get along in life, I don't know what I'd be doing. It's pretty bad.
If you got a good dose of mycotoxins and you're noticing the direct effect to it, what you want to do is you want to start binding those as soon as possible and get them the heck out of you. If you
Yeah.
get into a sauna, get into a sauna.
I know two people who have saunas, but they don't live nearby, but I have them invited to go there, but it'll be a little tricky, I think, in
So,
winter.
so Cami Smalley, I can send you her email. She's in Portland and she does similar work to what I do. And she has a sauna in her little home office that she allows people to buy sessions and go use it.
Okay, thank you. I'll take that.
On the East End, I know you're in Yarmouth, so it's not
Yeah,
far, it's not terribly close either.
yeah, that I'll definitely do that. I did get to do that a couple months ago at one of these people's houses up in Bowdoin though. And I felt really good. It's a really good thing for me to be doing. And I'm still not on. I did buy the kit to do the sinus rinse. I always hate doing that kind of thing. And here's the problem. It's funny, my son has autism. I have all of the symptoms, but I feel like I've got it as bad as he. I'm supposed to be running the show for both of us. But it's just sort of starting something new is so hard for me. He has the same thing, task initiation disorder, they call it, or something like that. So I have a friend who has to take that same thing and he's going to show me how to do it. I'm sure it's extremely simple. I'm sure it's very simple, but it's like opening the box paralyzes me.
I understand.
So,
You know what else, Shelley? How long ago did you clean your windows?
well, I did it about 3 weeks ago, and then I did the last one about a week ago.
Okay. Because a sinus rinse following that would be good too.
I
to
know.
get the hell out of your nasal passage.
Yeah, you're so right. I knew if I just would have done it right after, it would have helped a lot.
Yeah.
I knew that, and I still did not do it. Part of it is I'm just overwhelmed with everything that's on my plate, and just life in general. But yeah, I mean, even just having this conversation is great impetus to take the next steps. You know, I just get bogged down by just being the Shelley show here. Everything's too much for me.
Please utilize me if I can help, help you initiate things if you're needing to
Yeah.
be accountable with somebody. Please send me an email and say, hey, these are my intentions this next week to start XYZ. And then I'll, make myself a note to follow up with you and make sure I help you do that.
Okay. And then I'll be a while once I get up to speed here. I want to see what I can do with the whole plan in place.
Yeah.
And the diet, and then see if there's anything I should be adding. But my brain is so bad that it takes me so long to read these simple instructions. I have to read them like 30 times. That's how bad it is. I want to cry so bad. So that's why it takes me so long to get going.
Okay. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Yeah, it definitely has to be the slow plan for me. And then, yeah, hopefully I can get this going because we've already been 6 months in our program or something like that. It feels like 6 weeks to me. But then I know once I get all this going, I do want to test again and see where I'm at.
Yeah, I think for you, it's also really important to go from treating the gut to, we got to start working on the getting rid of the mold.
Yeah, I have a strong sense that, and I hate to say it, we live in this really pretty house. It's a rental. It's only about 25 years old, but it is moldy. And one of the problems is it has one bathroom and there's no window and no fan. And I've asked, the landlord won't fix the fan. He says it can't be done. So I run a fan in there, and try to open up the doors, but the house really, I don't know if your house gets like this, but there's a moment in the summer where it's so humid here and the air just, I don't know if it's because we live on the coast or if it doesn't matter, but try as I might, the house just goes through this period where it really seems to fill up with mold. I don't have the windows open right or something happens and it's just like that.
Yeah.
And I have discovered there's a few pieces of old furniture, that dark wood furniture that molds up really quickly. So I am I actually got rid of a piece, my favorite one. It was hard to see it go, but it's gone. And I might just get rid, they got the glass doors and the claw feet and all that. They're very pretty, but they are full of mold all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm having to let them go. And I've, even a lot of the books in this house have gotten moldy, and I love them. They're my friends and relatives, and I think I have to let them go too for my health. It's just,
I mean, that's the thing is if you're continuously living amongst and mold spores and they're constantly, putting themselves back out there, like we could do all the mold remediation in your body as much as we can, but if you're continuously getting exposed, it's going to be hard to keep up with it.
yeah, I still have to live here for a while, because even getting out of here, if I can't read these directions, it'd take me a long time to get out of this house. So so there is some mold like up in the skylights in the bathroom. I could see it's all over the windows. So that would be a little harder to get rid of, I guess. And it's there's some old beams that they, I don't know if you can see them in the other room, but there's actually a film on them, and that was there when we came, this film. And I had somebody take a wet paper towel and wipe it. And sure enough, it just looked like all kind of this brown, it looked like mold that got wiped off. And so the house has a lot of mold, and I didn't do a perfect job on the windows, because that's a big job too, but I did got most of it off. I don't even know if that made a difference, or maybe it just made me sicker. I'm not sure. But I do need to think about leaving this unbelievable rent for this nice house in a great part of a nice town. So, or have it remediated, I guess. Anyway, maybe we can talk about that
Yeah, for sure.
sometime. But it's like all these things are not easily solved.
No, they're not.
I mean, and the gut issues are not easily solved. That's why, one of our people here was so frustrated last time. I felt badly for her. I know how it is. You're working so hard on things, and lo and behold, it's, things haven't changed that much.
Yep. It could be hard. Sometimes it takes a really, really long time.
Yeah.
And
I'm one of those people.
investigation. Yeah. And, and I think I've offered for all of you, if you're needing, another session with just me, I'm so happy to do it at a much discounted rate. I really want to be able to help it in a group setting. It's hard to get individual needs, full individual needs. Like, in a session one-on-one, I'm talking about so many things. In the session one-on-one with you all, like we went over your labs, I gave you recommendations, but the individual troubleshooting is kind of an important part of things. So, if you're finding that you're still struggling, we could still do things, and I'm happy to do complimentary emails and to continue to support you all. So,
well, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Rita, I don't see your face, but I know you're there, right?
Yes, I'm here. I can't figure out how to turn it on, so you're not going to see my face.
Getting late, but I don't want to forget anybody. And I'm like, wait, we still have Rita. She's still on.
That's okay. I just have one question. If you could add something to my full script, the acetyl CH by Apex Energetics.
Oh, yeah. Acetyl CH. Yep. So
Thank you.
yeah. Have you taken it before?
Yeah, I took it with parsley, and I'm just about out of it.
Okay.
And I can't order it without.
Yep. Remind me what you're taking it for.
I don't know. I just take it when I feel like it.
All right then. How are you doing? You're still sticking to the low FODMAP?
Yeah, basically, I'm back in a good eating season for me, because these are the foods that I do well with. I still can't digest protein. Basically, fish is the best thing for me to eat.
Okay.
And I still have reflux. So I did all of the protocols with the supplements, and there really wasn't any difference. So
Okay. And you said you did the betaine HCl, and where did you get to and it didn't help?
I did like 3 or 4, but it wasn't helping. So I didn't keep it up. I probably didn't do it long enough, but As long as I eat the foods I know I can eat, I'm fine.
Yeah, yeah. So it's, you only get the reflux when you eat foods that you shouldn't be eating?
Well, no, like for instance, I used an Ayurvedic spice mix, one of the 6 flavor things the other day, and I was up all night with that. So it was the combination of some of the spices. I can't do Ayurveda at all. It really upsets my stomach.
Okay. Okay.
So it's like spices, garlic, those kinds of things. They do upset my stomach.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and for you, was it did you figure out which part of the FODMAPs were really upsetting for you? Triggering, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, specifically, it's like I eat root vegetables, I can eat chicken, I do best with fish, I stay away from legumes. So, pretty basic stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I'm just checking your, for your betaine HCl, you have straight up betaine HCl. You have that one, because I know that we also gave you the Digestzyme.
Yes, I have both of those.
You have both. Okay. So the betaine HCl that you have, are they 500 milligrams? Are they 600 milligrams? Do you know?
I can go look. Hang on.
Sorry, everyone. We're going way over a lot. I want to make sure everyone's leaving with getting their voices heard. But I know it's late.
I don't know what they are. Betaine. I don't know. It just says betaine HCl.
On the back of it, it doesn't have how many milligrams?
It just has betaine. It has 1.3 grams.
For how many capsules? 2?
Yes.
Okay. So just so you know, I have had people need to take up to 7 capsules to find relief. Not always. Some people may require that much. And it's a matter of you have to keep upping it until you actually feel an acidic burn. And once you feel that acidic burn, you go 1 less.
So I guess, so why do you feel the acidic burn? Isn't that negative?
So what that means, the acidic burn means you did more than you need. But if you keep doing it and you don't get a burn, that means that your body needs that acid. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I would keep going up until 7. Don't go past 7. There's been shown to do no more benefit after 7. But if you didn't feel relief after 3, try 4 next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
It's a bit of trial and error. I think I was up to 4 or 5 at one point, and then eventually I needed less, because you'll feel it. You'll feel like that burning sensation pretty quickly if you take many.
Okay.
Whenever you get that burning sensation, the next day or the next meal, back off 1 and only consume it with protein meals.
Okay. All right. I'll try that. I mean, I basically stay away from red meat at this point, and but it's hard to get fish up here. There's just no good fish up here. So anyways, so that's about it. And I basically am scheduled for another EDG in December. So we'll see if he sees any improvement when he does that.
Let me know how it goes after you have that done. I'd be curious.
Okay.
All right, everyone. I'm going to let you all go because it's almost 8 o'clock, at least Eastern time. Please follow up, each of you, if you have questions about retesting, if you have questions about which supplements you should mix, which should be ongoing. Rudy and Joyce will be meeting up after you do your things. I did mention to people, I'm happy to provide a complimentary session to go over any new tests. So let me know if you want to order. I can order them for you and we could go from there.
Well, thank you, Danielle. And also thank you everybody for sharing. It's been a
Yeah.
good experience.
I've really appreciated this group, and yeah, thank you all. And I'll be reaching out to you all individually for a little bit of individual feedback, and because this is the first time I've run this, so I'm happy to hear what would improve, what you liked, what should be canceled for the next time. So yeah, I'll appreciate your input for sure.
Thank
Thank
you.
Take
Best-
care, everyone. Be in touch, okay?
Thanks,
Bye.
Danielle.
I'm going to continue this WhatsApp. So if you ever want to communicate, it'll still be there.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that. I was going to ask about that.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
good. I need to still maybe get some of the documents off of it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
It'll still be there. So no problem.
Great.
Good. Great.
Take
Thank
care,
you.
everyone.
Thank
Have a great
you.
night.
Bye.
Hang in